rook against the pawn. So in the rook against pawn, it will be either winning for the white side, I mean the rook side, or it will be a draw. In almost every cases, the rook cannot lose the game. That's right. There is no doubt. If you want to draw the game, how can we draw the game here? There is a very simple way to draw the game. If you're afraid that we might lose, then how we can draw the game? Just put the rook behind the pawn and capture the pawn, and that's a draw. I mean, they will take it, and then it's a draw. Okay, but here we'll figure out whether it's winning actually, or actually it's a draw. Okay, black can manage to promote the pawn, and we have to give up the rook to make the draw. So we'll be using some technique, and the first technique is very simple, that you just count the number of moves. So we'll be using counting, and you count and tell me in how many moves the pawn gets promoted. The black pawn is able to promote the pawn. Anyone try to find? In how many moves the pawn is getting promoted? Yeah, you can unmute and answer.
Sir, 3. Sir, 5.
Okay, somebody was saying 3.
Sir, 5.
Okay, you already answered. Yes, sorry.
Sir,
You want
3.
to... Okay, 3 move. You see the pawn.
8 moves, sorry.
4 moves.
Sir.
The 5, sir.
4,
Yeah,
sir.
5 is right answer, not less
Sir,
than 5.
8 moves, sir.
8 is not. Pawn is not going this way. Pawn is going the bottom way. Pawn is going this way. You see the black pawn? Black pawn moves from the 7th rank to the 1st rank. So the black pawn is going toward the 1st rank. So black pawn here will be promoted in 5 moves. You might think, why can't we just promote the pawn? So the answer is very simple. If you just try to push the pawn and promote it, white rook will come and take it. So the pawn cannot be promoted by itself. Okay, he needs the help of king. So the king will help him till which point? Till b2. Okay, from till b2 he will help the pawn, and the pawn they can promote. So they are taking a total number of 5 moves. Now count and tell me how many moves white will take to control the c1 square 2 times with the king as well as with the rook.
5.
Sir, 5.
Yes,
5.
right. Yeah, you're right. 5 moves. So that's very simple. You place the rook behind the pawn. That is one move. Second is you do this, and you're able to control the promotion square. So it is taking 5 moves, right? So if it is white to play, white is winning because white will be able to control the promotion, and white will win the game. But if it is black to play first, black will be able to draw the game because black will promote first, and then only white will be able to control the square, right? We'll see how it is winning or draw. But for the moment, you understand, if white is going to play first, white will be able to win. And if it is black to play, it will be a draw. Yes, Sathar, you want to ask or say? Yes, Sathar, you want to say something? Okay, so let's see. Yes, sir.
Shubham, you are saying if the move of white will be there, then we can win.
Yes.
But
Yes,
we have
if
to
it is
decide between, but we have to decide the correct move, na, from by rook or by the knight king.
Yes, that's what we are going to learn.
Okay.
For the moment, we just discuss if it is white to play, white is winning. And if it is black to play, black is able to draw the game. Because white, white is also promoting, stopping the promotion in 5 move, and black is promoting in 5 move.
Yeah.
What we want is we control and then they promote. Then we will be able to capture the pawn. What they want is they want to promote first, then we will be able to control. That's what they want. But if they are able to promote first, then there is no point of controlling this square. We have to give up the rook then. But since it is white to play first, white will be able to control the pawn on c1. But now we have 2 questions. Should we start with rook c8 first, or with the king g4, king g5? This is a very big question. Which one we should start with? Okay, I will teach you. This is still complicated topic.
King.
Yeah, king is the right one. But let's learn this why the king is the right one. We'll see why king is correct, and we'll see why the rook move is not correct. We'll start with the king. King to z5. Let's say they push the pawn. We bring the king. They push the pawn. Now we need to, which move we need to play? The rook move. We cannot let them promote the pawn.
Rook c8.
Yes. Yeah, rook c8. They bring the king to help the pawn, and we bring the king. They bring the king to b2, ready to promote. But now we come to d2, and we stop the promotion. And not only stop the promotion, whatever they play next move, we are going to take the pawn. And if they promote, then we take the whatever they promote. Yes, Shaurya?
Instead of rook c8, can't white play rook e1 in that position?
Rook e1.
Yeah, after c2.
You want to play rook e1 here, and that way you want to stop the pawn. Yeah, still this is also working. No doubt. King b3, king e3, king b2, king d2. Okay. But here you notice you're a little bit restricting your rook. But the other side, what was happening, you're able to give some check also. So on the from the top it will be better, and from the side it will not that good. I know there is a rule in the rook pawn endgame. always keep your rook behind the pass pawn. It doesn't matter it is your pass pawn or opponent's pass pawn. It is better to keep your pass pawn, your rook behind the pass pawn. Okay. In this case, it is winning, no doubt, but it's not a good habit. Yeah. Well, anybody asking anything? Okay. So let's.
No, sir.
Okay, so we just saw what happens if we start with the king move. Now let's see what happens if we play the rook move first. Now there is a concept here that we'll discuss in the subsequent lessons. There is a concept of soldering, and I will write what is the meaning of this. I hope you already know what is opposition. If you already know opposition, then this will be very clear, easy for you. Okay, soldering will be used here. What does that mean? Here, black can push the pawn. That's one thing. And if black start pushing the pawn and then the king, we know that what will happen. The king will come and control the square, and white wins the game. So black cannot go for the same technique that he was using in the previous problem when in the previous way, which where the king was coming first. Now black will take advantage of the move that rook c8 we played. He will say that okay, you played rook c8. Now since your king is not closer, I will bring my king, and now you bring your king, but now I will stop your king to stop the promotion or control the promotion square. Now white will be able to will not be able to control the promotional square because of the king. And I mean this king can come here, but then you can start taking it. And you see the king cannot make progress. They can give check. In that situation, you can go to e2. They cannot do anything. Like they can go to e4, then you push the pawn, and if they try to go behind, then again you go to d2. Okay, you got the problem. What happens if they if white plays the rook move first? Black goes to stop the king, and black will not let the white king come into the game, and white will not be able to stop the pawn, and black will be able to promote, and white has to give up the rook, so it will be a draw.
But Shubham, if I go with the black king b3, then
if the king goes b3 here after rook c8, it's the same thing. Like now you're winning the game because you're able to bring your king. See, the black king is not opposed by anyone.
Then I
If the
can
king-
play black.
Yeah.
Can
In
you
this
play
position,
b3? B3, yeah.
king b3, you just bring your king.
Yeah.
You'll
pawn.
be having enough time to stop the pawn.
Okay.
In the beginning only we calculated black is taking 5 move, white is taking 5 move. So the difference happens if the king goes c3 and stops the opponent king. Then only black will be able to draw the game. Yes, Asni, sir.
Sir, here if you play rook d8,
Rook d8,
So,
you're just spending one move. It will not help you. You just spend one move. Now you will take 5 move to control the promotion square, and black will take 5 move to promote the pawn. And since it is black to play first, black will be able to draw the game.
okay, sir.
Yeah,
So
now
Shubham, b8 is also not good, na?
which move?
b8, rook to b8 is also not good, na?
Rook
we
d8.
will
Yes,
lose the
it is not good because you give them a free move.
Yeah. This
Okay,
one also,
so
and they can go to c1, c3 also, na?
king goes to no this way. You can go to c3, but yeah, that king c3 is definitely.
Yeah.
Even king e3 should also be a draw because when you go rook c8, this time the king will not go to b4, but the king will go to b3. And now in the same position, black has made progress and white has not. Okay. Wait a moment. Did I tell you rook to b8 and king a3 and rook c8, king b3? This was the position, no? So this is still winning for white now. Whose turn it is? Yeah, it is white to play. So white is still winning. Because if you bring your king, let's say they push the pawn, you are able to bring it. So the moment
The only
rook
move
gives
is
a check,
c3.
c3. Yes, king c3 you go, and then you are able to draw the game.
Yeah. Because shorting will be there, na?
Yes, sorting will be used there. And because here we want to play rook c8 without losing extra move.
Yeah.
But if you play directly, then it will not work due to soldering.
Sir, but after rook c8, king c3, king g5, king d3, king f4, c3, rook d8 check.
Then which move you want to play? King e2.
Sir,
Please continue.
after rook d8, what will black play?
Black goes king e2. He'll just move the king away so that he can push the pawn in the next move.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he'll not block his pawn. If he blocks his own pawn, then white wins the game. So he just moves the king away, and he says that okay, you can give check. Then black will simply go left or right, and it will be a draw only.
Sir,
To go to capture. Yeah.
so the starting position when white plays king g5,
Yes.
here if he plays king c3,
Yeah, this is a good question. What if now black tries to do the soldering? Now you notice we didn't play rook c8 move, right? That means we didn't spend any move with the rook. So we bring the king and they try to take d3 square, take opposition, or you can say soldering. This time we can give a check. And we are forcing the king to go away.
okay, sir.
Earlier what was happening, we already played a rook c8 move in which we spent a move. And since we didn't play a rook c8 move, we didn't spend any move. So we are able to play rook d8 check, and then It doesn't matter where the king goes. Let's say the king goes e2, then you can go and stop the pawn. You have to push the pawn, and you can even give check first, or you can place your rook behind the pawn. They have to go and stop it, and now you are able to. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Can you say slow?
Okay. So she was asking, if the rook goes to c8, this is a draw because the king can go c3 and stop the white king, and it will be a draw. But the question was, what if king comes to g5? In this situation, what if black plays king c3? Can't be a draw again? So the answer is no, because we didn't spend any move with the rook. Now we can utilize the rook move. After the we'll first bring the king, and once the king comes outside, then we give a check, and we are able to use the move. And you can even play king to f3 after they push the pawn. Then you can give check, force the king to go behind the pawn, and then you will be able to win the game. Okay, that's easy. You can win game easily. Like you place the rook, they push the pawn, and then you play king to d2. Okay, this one is clear. A simple counting works, but you have to make sure that opponent is not able to solder the white king. That's right. We just counted in 5 moves, black is promoting. White is also able to stop the pawn in 5 moves, but we just need to make sure that black is not able to solder the king. And if white makes a mistake, then black should use the soldering instead of pressing with the pawn. Okay, should we go to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. In this problem, you count and tell me how many moves black takes to promote the pawn.
Sir,
Promotion.
5.
Yeah,
5.
that's right. And how many moves white takes to stop the pawn, control the pawn promotion on even?
Even.
Yeah, of
5.
course. Yes, 5 only. Okay, anyone who will like to tell how white can control even 2 times? Yes, sorry.
So like if it is white to play, white can go king e6,
Yes.
and then black will play king to e3. Then white can go king d5.
Okay, you just tell the white's move, like how you will control even square 2 times.
Okay, so king e6.
King e6. Yeah, then
Then king d5,
d5,
king d4,
d4,
king. Then
d3, d2.
yes.
Because the pawn will be going to either e3 or e2. Okay, so this is the way you will take 5 move, and you will be able to stop the pawn on the even square, or you will be able to control the even square 2 times. And this technique from of going from the side is called as outflanking, which we'll be learning very soon in detail. Outflanking is the technique in which we go through the side of the pawn and stop the pawn control. Okay. So at some point you'll notice black king will not let white go through the side of the pawn, and white will not be able to do outflanking. And since if white cannot do outflanking, white will not be able to win the game. So since here white is able to go through the side, white will be able to win the game. So as Surya mentioned, we should play king e6, and of course not king f6. King e6, we want to go through the side. So here black can push the pawn. If black pushes the pawn, then we just go through the side and we stop the promotion and we win the game. There is a problem. What happens if the king goes e3? Next, this point, what we should play? One move is easily winning, one move is difficult. Yeah, which one? Which move is winning?
Sir, rook
King
e1.
e5.
G1.
Rook e1.
No, with the rook move, if you play the rook move, you are spending time.
Sir, king e5.
King e5 is the move. You want to do outflanking, but you don't know which side the king will go, and you will go through that side. So you just go king e5. Now wait for black to make a decision. He will go either this way or this way, and you go to the opposite way. Let's say they go d3. Not there. They go d3. And this one is actually winning easily. You give a check and win the pawn. Let's say you don't want to win the pawn, then you can go f4, and then also you can stop the pawn on e1. Okay, clear? And if they play the, let's say they try to push the pawn, we just bring the king, and we will be able to stop the pawn on e1 square. We will be able to stop the pawn on e1 square. So counting is clear, how we just count and figure out which way we are able to go, and we will be able to stop the pawn or not. Okay. Yes, Asnital, you want to ask anything?
Sir, I just wanted to ask and if the black king does trolling, but you have now answered that.
Black king will be, black king cannot do soldiering here, no? How black king will do soldiering? King goes
Sir,
e6.
by like, sir, by the
Come on.
same thing.
Okay,
Sir,
one by one.
king e3.
King e3 now.
Sir, before I had asked, but then you answered it.
Okay, answered. Okay, fine. Yes,
You know, here if we can play rook to a4, then it is good or not? First,
it's not good. You're complicating it. I mean, it's not clear like
You
it's
get
winning or not.
get the
But
one move
most likely it will not be winning, because you just spend a move which was not required. Now it will be difficult to win the game. Yeah, it's not no longer winning. You just played a move. Rook is already doing wonderful thing on e1, controlling e1 square. So you just make sure you bring your king and then help out the rook and control e1 square. Okay.
Why are you taking this path only, d1 path? Why not because of the king, na? Because its king is this side, right?
Okay, let me play it again. Because of the
King.
because of the opponent king is not letting you go to the other side. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say.
And if the king is this side, then we will take from this side.
Yeah, we'll choose the other path. There are two paths. No? There are two paths to the king, so we can choose any of those two.
Shubham, we lost the screen sharing.
Yeah, I'm sharing you again.
Oh.
You can see.
It is loading. Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Okay, this one is clear. This
Yes.
was the concept of counting. We are playing king against rook against pawn. So one concept we discussed was simply counting the number of moves, and you will be able to figure out which way we can stop the pawn. There is a next concept called as cut off the king along the fifth rank. And if we cut off the king along the fifth rank, then the king cannot help the pawn. And why fifth rank? We'll see. That's very important. Okay, so here, the only move that wins the game is how we can cut off the king along the fifth rank.
Rook to g5.
Rook d5.
Yeah. Now you notice the king can never go cross this line.
Correct.
So if the king can never cross this line, so either they can move the pawn only, or they can just play waiting move with the king left and right. If they just keep playing waiting move with the king and left and right, so we'll go to the bottom side and then we'll come here and we'll take the pawn, right? And if they try to push the pawn, let's say they try to push the pawn, we anyway bring the king. We let them push the pawn for the to the second rank. And if they bring the pawn to the second rank, now we can stop the pawn. How we stop the pawn?
Rook
Sir,
g1.
D1.
Rook
d1.
Z1. Perfect. They go king a5. We go rook a1.
d1. Sir.
Good. And you notice we are just in time to capture the pawn. And, yeah, that's right. So we are just in time to capture the pawn, and it will be a winning for white. So cut off along fifth rank only works. If you try to cut off the king along the fourth rank, then it will not work. Let's say you play rook to g4. They bring the king to b5, and we go and they try to push. They start pushing the pawn. And after they go to the second rank, if you go from the to g1, the same technique doesn't work because the king will be able to stop the defend the pawn, and you have to give up your rook for the pawn. Okay, so cutoff along fifth rank only works. Sometimes it will be a perfect cutoff, sometimes it will not be a perfect cutoff. But even if it is not a perfect cutoff, most likely it will be better for white. We'll see these three examples. Let's see. This one is also white to play. Very simple. Which move is winning? There is only one move which is winning.
Rook
D5.
Yeah, there is no question like how it is winning now. Everyone know this thing. Rook z5 is winning. Simple. So we go to the next. Yeah, rook z5, yes, we are cutting the king, and the king cannot help out the pawn, and we will be able to win the game easily. If they try to push the pawn, again, you just bring your king. And since the pawn is in the second rank, you can go to the g1, and then you can take the pawn. The king cannot defend the pawn. Before that, you'll be able to take the pawn, and you can do checkmate later. Okay, so this is what will happen if we are able to do cut off the king for the fifth rank. Now let's take this situation. Again, rook z5 we can play, but will it cut off the king? Yeah.
We are winning in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, na? And we are losing in 4th.
Yeah.
2.
Not losing, it will be a draw. If you can cut off the king for 6th rank, 7th rank, it will be very useful. That's a great idea. We are taking 5th as the borderline, like from this going downward. You cannot cut off is not useful. Borderline is yeah, 4th rank will not work. 5th rank, 6th rank, 7th rank, it will be working. Yeah, 8th rank you cannot cut off. How can you cut off 8th rank? Okay, so here we can play rook z5. It cuts off the king slightly, not perfectly, because the king will be able to escape through the other side, and he can escape, but it will take a lot of time. By that time, we will be able to stop the pawn by bringing our king. Yeah, because it will take a lot of time. You notice this much time they will take, and we just need to take the king move and the rook move, and we will be able to stop the pawn. You can just count and figure out like who is taking more moves. We are taking one move with this king, not one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 move with the king, and 7 move. Total 7 move white is taking, and black is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 moves. So we'll be faster by 2 moves. Okay, is this clear? So here cutoff is not working, but actually cutoff helps you to delay the king progress, and you will be able to win the game. It just delays the opponent king, and you'll be able to bring your own king, and you'll be able to win the game. Yeah, that's clear. We can even see. Let's say they go here. We go this. And if they try to go this way, we'll come to see what happens if they try to go this way. But let's say if they try to push the pawn, we bring the king, they push the pawn. We don't even need to go there. We can go G1, or even you can give a check here, and this one actually wins much faster. The king goes to A4, and then you have king to C4, and you win the pawn. And since you win the pawn, you win the game. So cutoff here is, and if they try to, as I told you, if they try to stop you, then also you do the same thing. The only difference is you will be having enough time to stop the pawn, and now you can give a check and you win the pawn.
But we can take the pawn directly here.
Yeah, here also you can take the pawn. Okay, so cutoff is not working, but cutoff helps you here to win the to delay the progress of black, and if they delay the progress, then we can bring our king and win the pawn later and win the game. Okay,
Sir,
cutoff
can
is
we take one move back?
where?
Sir, Z7.
King G7. They go to B6. We go not there. We go G7. They go A5. We go F6. They bring the king to B. Let's say A4 or B4. Which one you want to go?
K, A4, sir.
A4. White brings the king. Black moves the pawn or what? Yeah, black should move the pawn. And then you keep bringing your king, and you get closer to the pawn, and you will be able to win the pawn. Yeah, which move you want to analyze? King B3 or A3?
A3, sir.
King A3 is winning easily. You can go to, you can give a check first. The king goes to B3, and then you can place your rook behind the pawn. The king will either go to A3 or A4. It doesn't matter. In both situations, you can play king C4, and you win the pawn in the next move. They push the pawn, then also you win, and if they don't push, then also you win. Okay, this is clear. This was cut off along the 5th rank. This is a very useful technique, and you'll see that this will be useful in the games when you play, if there is only rook pawn and sometimes rook against pawn. Okay, going to the next topic. This is also the cutoff along the 5th rank. You just need to tell me whether this is useful or not. Can we do cutoff? Is it good?
No.
No, sir.
So this is winning for white or draw?
Draw.
Say draw.
It's a draw. White cannot win the game. Black will be able to promote the pawn, and white has to give up the rook, and it will be draw. Because we know that cutoff along the 4th rank is not useful, and also this is not a perfect cutoff because the king can go through a side, but he doesn't need to go through a side. He can just push the pawn, and we need to give up the rook. Now let's take this example. You tell me this one. This is another theme that we'll be seeing. Notice black king is not letting white do the outflanking, right? Yeah, white cannot go through the side. He cannot go through any side because black king is stopping it, right? Is it clear? So here, we can do check. Yeah, we'll see. Outflanking is not working. What is this? Outflanking is not working here. Okay, so there is no point of doing counting because since the king cannot go and stop the promotion square, so there is no point of counting, right? The king cannot go now. Black has taken the path, so the king cannot go through the side and control the b1 square promotion square. So counting is not working. Outflanking is not working. Now what happens here? Here we have to give check through the side. So we give check through the side. This is actually draw game. We give check
Sir,
through the
what
side.
is meant by outflanking and counting?
Counting will simply just count the number of moves, how many moves both players will take. Black takes to promote and white takes time to control the promotion square. That way we use in the counting. And the outflanking is the technique. We go through the side to control the promotion square. This green line is called as outflanking. Okay, the green line is called as outflanking. You go through the side and control the promotion square. But since black is taking control of this square, white king cannot use this path, and white cannot do outflanking. Okay, white, you may ask, like, what if white tries to choose the longer path? Then you will not be able to, you're not having enough time. Black will be able to promote the pawn. It will take a lot of time, and black will be able to promote the pawn, and you need to give up your rook. Okay, it is taking only 5 moves for the promotion, and white is taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 move with the rook, 6 move. So here outflanking is not working. So what white should do is white should try for another technique in which we allow the promotion, but we these two techniques we discussed. Then we discussed cutoff along 5th rank, and then we discussed. Then we are going to discuss this one. After this, we are having one more technique in which we allow the promotion, but promotion to only knight is allowed. We'll see why. So you give a check through the side. Now you notice the king has to go to the down, c3. White also brings the king. Again, outflanking doesn't work because you'll not be able to catch him. Black will be able to push the pawn and draw the game. So king goes to c5. Black pushes the pawn. White gives a check again. King goes to c2. White comes closer to the pawn, c4. White gives check again. Sorry, black pushes the pawn, and then white gives a check. King goes to c1. And now white can come a little bit closer to c3, the pawn. And now you notice if black try to promote to anything, let's say queen, rook, or the bishop, what will happen?
Rook h1 checkmate.
Yes, rook h1 will be a checkmate. So you cannot promote to queen or anything else, rook or
Knight.
bishop.
The knight can give check.
Yes, knight they can promote, and this will be a draw game. And here I just want to mention that rook against the knight is a draw game most of the time, but there are two situations in which it is winning for the rook side. The first situation is king, black king, and the knight are far away from each other. In this situation, this is not the condition. The king and the knight are, both of them are closer to each other. And the second situation is king and the knight are in the corner. Okay, so here the king and the knight both are not in the corner. So this is a draw or what?
Draw.
Yeah. Yes, it is a draw because the king and the knight are neither in the corners nor they are far away from each other.
White draw.
Black draws. White can claim the draw anytime. Okay, black is struggling here for the draw. White is not struggling here for the draw. White can claim draw anytime. Okay, so you can remember this thing. This will be useful. Against rook against the knight, king and knight, if both of them are far away from each other, then white wins. And if both of them are in the corner, then also white wins. And in other situation, it is a draw. So now you tell me, in which situation, which pawn, this was the, which pawn? B pawn. Which pawn will be winning for white? From B to G,
The center.
Central pawn will be still drawn up. The king and the knight are in the center, not in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, corner pawn.
Of the rook
Yes.
pawn.
Yes, that's right. The rook's pawn will be winning for the white. We'll be using the same technique. We give a check. King goes down. You bring the king. Again, here outflanking doesn't work. You cannot go to the other side. And this way also you cannot go. So outflanking is not working. Since outflanking is not working, there is no point of doing counting. And cut off along third rank doesn't work. So now we go to the next technique, that is letting them promote to a knight. So rook, king goes b3, king b5, pawn push. We give check again. They go b2, we bring king. They go a2, we give check again. They go b1, and this time we go b3. And of course, they promote to queen, rook, or bishop. They will get checkmated, but they can promote to a knight. And as we know that the king and the knight in the corner is actually losing for black. And how do you win the game is very simple. You just play king to c3, and you notice black doesn't have any move. Every move they play is losing, right? Even if they do not play, then also they are losing. Okay, so this is if they do not play, then how it is losing? Yeah.
Can you go back? We started.
This was the idea. We give check.
Yeah, sure. Can I, instead of moving the king, if we give check and check to the king, that will be helpful or not?
It will not be helpful. The king will go. Let's say you give check. King goes down, and if you give check, the king will come up.
Then again check.
The king will go down. You're repeating now.
Which can you do? Yeah, again check.
So you are repeating the things now. Why you are repeating? With white pieces, why you will repeat? You are playing here for win. Black is happy to repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in the previous problem, we saw that they can promote to a knight, but it is not easy to draw the game even after that. Many players have lost the game. This position, you can allow the promotion to a knight. It's not easy to make the draw. So do not accept the draw, even if it is a draw. Objectively, it's a draw, but why you will just go for a draw? You'll let black so that they know how to play for a draw here. They know how to play. The only move is knight to a3. So if they do not know, then they will be struggling. So this one is clear. A knight, promotion to knight on a1 will be possible, but still they lose the game. Okay, anyone who wants to ask anything in these techniques? We discussed 4 techniques: outflanking, counting, cut off along 5th rank, and promotion to a knight. These techniques we discussed. Yeah, no question?
I have like one question. Like,
Yeah.
imagine king was on c6 and then the pawn was on c5, and no, on like c4.
Okay. Can you just wait a moment? I'll just design what you're saying.
just for some insight, because my coach taught me about this. I'm like, just
Okay, which
like,
which we are saying? King is on,
king on black king on d6,
black king on d6,
and then black pawn on d4,
black pawn on d4,
and white king anywhere, like in probably a8, put it on a8, and white rook on h5,
h5.
and it's
So
black.
it doesn't matter black to play or white to play. Okay, let's say it is black to play. So which kind of situation it is? You know?
Coach was talking about, like, now it's black to play. So if the king moves, like, we can easily catch the pawn with our rook. So instead, what my coach thought is, if they anytime push the pawn to d3,
Oh,
they
yeah, that's a good strategy. I got it. Okay, let me show you. They must have thought like if they push the pawn anytime, you just go and attack the pawn, right?
Yeah.
And after they push the pawn, then you can place your rook behind the pawn and you win the pawn.
yeah, like easy. Like, I have like one question in this, like, what if they move their king towards our king and then they push?
Yeah, that's why I told you. The way I told you that you bring your king. Okay,
But
you can do this thing also. You can let them push the pawn and then only you bring your king. Then you just attack the pawn. But you can always attack the pawn when the pawn goes to on d2. That also works. Yeah, both works. Okay, is this clear, everybody? Like he said that instead of waiting for the pawn to go on d2, what we can do is if the pawn goes to d3, and whenever the pawn goes forward, then you attack the pawn immediately. And if the pawn goes forward again, then we just place the rook behind the pawn, and then whatever they play, we take the pawn later. Okay, why I didn't show you this technique, because we'll see later that we need to use the king also at some point. So that's why I didn't taught you this idea of placing the rook and then doing this thing. This technique works, but this works against this situation only, against the cutoff along the fifth rank. Okay, but while receiving, there is one particular situation where you have to use the king. Okay, is this clear? This is a good technique, no doubt, but you can use any of those two. Okay, let's come back to this one. Yes, Surya, you want to ask anything?
In the previous position,
This one.
not this one, on which you
He was asking.
So, not, so can you set up a position which I'm saying?
This was the position that he said.
No, sir, I didn't say that. I want to say different thing.
Okay, then.
The black's king is on e3.
E3.
Okay, and black pawn is on d5.
D5.
White's rook is on h5. H5, yes. And white's king is on a4.
White king is on a4.
Yeah, and it is black to play.
Okay, so if it is black to play, so they have two choices to play. One, they can bring the king back, or they can push the pawn forward to protect the pawn. So most likely they are going to push the pawn forward. If they bring the king backward, then we can just bring our king. So here you bring your oh, I made a mistake. Okay, I will try to gain the same position. Okay, this is black to play again. Okay, this is black to play. So pawn goes d4, and now you can bring your king. Most likely you will be able to win the game. You can just count the ideas, because we know that cutoff is not working. So we need to go for counting only. They are promoting the pawn in 4 moves, and they will be able to stop the pawn in just 3 moves, right? Are you getting?
Yes.
So most likely it will be winning, and it is winning. You
Sir, can we move now? K D2?
King d2. Okay, oh, it is white to play. Now you want to go king d2.
Yes, sir.
Okay, this time you can, yeah, you can place your rook behind the pawn.
So what about king c4 in that position? After
okay.
king d2, yeah.
Here we saw that they will push the pawn. Okay, there is no doubt in this that they will push the pawn. Then we bring king b3, and now you're saying they push the d3.
If king d3?
Pawn d3 or king d3, which one?
King d3.
King d3 loses instantly now, like rook to d5.
Okay, sir.
And if they push the pawn, then we have still it's winning. You just go to, that's weird. Yeah, it's winning. You can go king c3, and now if they push the pawn, you give a check and then win the pawn. And if they move the king, then you give check. I mean, anyway, you give a check and win the pawn, like whatever they play. If they push the pawn, you can even just place the rook behind the pawn. That is also winning. And you can give a check. If they go up, then a king can take the pawn, and if they go down, then you give check and then win the pawn. Okay, it's easily winning, and it's the, yeah. So this is the concept of counting. Like you just figure out how many moves both players are taking, and you see that if black is able to stop the king or not. So here black cannot stop the king. White can do outflanking easily, and white wins the game. Okay, clear? Any other question? Anyone? Any possibility? We'll see some more positions, which is difficult. That will be interesting. Yeah, so we go. Okay, let's go for that. So we saw that promotion to knight is also a possibility, and now let's see this one. Yeah, this one. Here, this is one situation. We know that counting is not possible immediately because the king is not letting you go. If we try to give check to the side, we know that that will be a draw because on the knight here and the king on d1 will be a draw. Okay, yes, Ankit, you want to ask something?
Yeah. Shubham, in the previous one, can you show how the knight can give a draw in that game? Knight draw. When
Okay,
we
you're
promote the
asking
knight.
like how it is a draw.
Yeah, yeah.
This
How can we?
Okay, I got your point. You're saying like how it is a draw.
Yeah. How can we draw it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is not we are going to discuss today. This is not the topic of discussions today. Rook against knight. This will take like another. It's a very long lecture. How rook against knight is a draw. So maybe some other day we can discuss how rook can draw the game against knight.
Not an issue.
Okay, but we'll use the direct result that it is a draw.
Okay.
So we are discussing this one. Now we know that simple outflanking is not working. And we also know that we cannot give check and go to the bottom and allow the promotion to a knight because that will be a draw. Cutoff is also not working. So what do we do is now we try to make a square for ourselves through outflanking. We know that we do not have access to the c6. That's the only problem. Yeah, we want to go this way and place the king here and then place the rook here and or maybe rook here, and we want to win the game that way. Correct? So what do we do is we give a check to them. We are giving check just to claim the c6 square so that we can do outflanking. The king goes to d4. Now we go to, it doesn't matter if they go here. This one actually loses instantly. So better is to go on d4 and we go through c6. Now you just count here. Let's say they push the pawn. Okay, so you see they are taking 3 plus 2, 5 move. Okay, 5 move to promote the pawn. We are taking 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 move with the rook. 5 move to. Yeah. What you're saying? We are also taking 5 moves to stop the pawn, and they are taking 5 moves to promote the pawn. So if it is white to play, white wins. If it is black to play, black draws. But since it is white to play, white is winning. Okay.
Sir, what if moves rook to d5?
Okay, rook d5 is a little bit complicated. We cannot say that whether it's winning or not, but through calculation, you can definitely figure out that whether it's winning or not. The king will go to e3, and then also you have to go king d5. And actually, we have helped the opponent king to make progress for the one move. Yeah, we go to, let's say we go b5, they push the pawn, and we go to d4, they push the pawn, and if we attack, they just bring king to d2, we can give a check, but now it's a draw. Now we cannot win the game.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah, so there is no point of giving check unnecessarily. You know that the task of rook is to control the promotion square. In between, check is not useful. Okay? We'll see there are some situations where counting is not working. Then we'll be using time gaining check. Here, if you give a check, you're not gaining anything. But we'll see in some situation you have to give a check just to gain extra moves. There you have to give a check. Here, giving check is not going to do anything. Simple way is winning that you are able to control the c1 square in 5 moves. They are controlling also in 5 moves, but since it is us who is going to play first, so we win the game. And if it is black to play, then it's a draw. Okay, so this technique is outflanking. In the beginning, opponent is not letting us outflank. So what we did, we gave a check to them. We made the square for ourselves to outflank, and now we can do the outflanking through the side. Okay, so this was winning. What do you think about this position? This is winning or not? Try to figure out which technique we can do.
Draw position.
Okay, draw. Anyone?
Sir, draw.
I think it's
Fourth rank, you have set a draw
it's a draw.
because of the fourth rank.
Draw position, sir.
Okay, everyone is saying draw. Okay, so here, if we try to give a check and then outflank, not working.
So maybe it doesn't win.
No.
Okay.
Right. So it is working.
Yeah, it's winning or draw. It's a draw.
Draw.
It's a draw only. The reason why it is a draw, you remember the previous problem? Previous problem was exactly same. The only difference is the kings are a little bit downward, right? This one in the fourth rank, the previous problem, it was fifth rank. In the previous problem, we are on the borderline of winning the game, right? So this has to be a draw. And you can count it also. They are taking 5 moves to promote the pawn. And we are taking, if you take the longer route, then it will be taking 5 move again. Since it is, how many moves it is taking? It is taking 6 move for white and 5 move for black. So it will be a draw for black. And if you try to do the same technique, give a check, king goes down, and then we try to outflank. The problem is here, white is taking 1, 2, 3, 4 move and 1 move with the rook, and black is taking only 4 move to promote. White is taking 5 move, black is taking 4 move to promote the pawn. So black draws the game. Okay.
Shubham, the same thing is applicable to this thing also, 5th rank and 4th rank. You can say that here. Same rule applies here. Yeah.
In the previous problem, what was happening? The pawn is in the 5th rank, king is in the 5th rank. Now you see they both have to go down, right? So they are getting.
No, that thing I understand. But you have said na ki if we cut the king from the 5th rank, this thing we can apply here also or not?
No, how can you cut off the king? How can you cut off along 5th rank?
No, same rule which we applied when you have told us 5th rank and 4th rank concept. Can we apply here also or not? That thing.
You cannot see. You're not able to cut off the king. So how can you apply it? You're cutting the king along the 4th rank only.
I'm saying about the 5th and 4th rank only.
If you go to the 5th rank, it is not the cutoff. It's just we are claiming this square. You want to claim the c6 square so that we can go and do outflanking.
No, it's in 5th rank. No, we are winning the game. In 4th rank, we are not winning it.
Yes, right.
That rule I'm saying that rules applies to this thing also.
That rule applies to not every line, not every file. In the central, it will be there. Now let's take this example. This again winning for white, no doubt. Anyone who will show us how it is winning?
It will win.
So we are able to cut off the king.
How you are able to cut off the king?
No, we can outflank it. We have the moves there.
So like by cut off in.
First we give a check and then we do outflanking.
Yes, right. This is the right technique. We give a check, we claim the c6 square, and now we do outflanking. We go through the bottom, through the side and do outflanking. Okay, all these techniques are clear?
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll be seeing there are, okay, I'll just write over here. We discussed first counting, then we discussed cutoff along, what is this? Cutoff along rank. And we also discussed soldering a little bit. Somebody is trying to draw lines. Okay, soldering. And then we discussed promotion to knight and outflanking. What is this? Okay, outflanking we discussed. And the last thing we discussed, we're going to discuss
What is mean by soldering?
Soldering means you try to stop the king through the side. It is like opposition where you stop the king through the side, not in the front. We'll discuss soldering in detail. We are going to discuss this one. This is our next topic. So outflanking is clear, all this. Okay. So next, we are going to discuss soldering again in detail. What does that mean and how it is useful to win the game? And then we'll be discussing one more important technique that is called as time gaining check. Okay, so we are going to discuss soldering again. But before we do that, let's see if we have another problem. Yeah, this one, what do you think? Is winning or draw?
So win for what?
The winning.
Yeah, it's winning for white, winning. And there are many ways you can win the game. You can do outflanking, you can do cutoff along 5th rank. Both are winning. Okay, this one you notice seems like black king is not able to, black king is not letting white king go and stop the pawn, right? Control the e2 square. He's able to go and stop the pawn. So in these kind of situation, what we do is we have to do soldering. How do we do soldering? We bring our king. Okay, they bring the king. Okay, we bring the king. They push the pawn. Of course, they cannot attack our rook because we just take the pawn. So they attack, they push the pawn. This time, what we do? Yeah.
Check. Z2?
Check.
Not king Z2.
Check.
Check, yeah. Rook E1. They have to go D2. Next.
Sir, king F2.
King F2, yes. And now it's winning for white. How it is winning? It is winning simply. Let's say they go king C2 and they are making a square for their pawn. You can go to king E3. And if they push the pawn, then it's a simple rook E2. Yes, that's right. Rook E2 is winning. So now let me show you. This thing is called as soldering. You are not letting the king go to the right, and you're giving check, forcing them to go to the D2 square, and you are able to bring your king to F2. It's called as soldering. Okay.
Sir, what is time gaining check?
We are coming to that one only. Soldering is clear. Soldering is useful in this one, and we'll go back to the previous the first problem, and then we'll come to the time gaining check. Yeah, here we know that king G5 is winning, but what if rook goes to C8? If rook goes to C8, this is a wrong move. Let's see.
Losing.
Rook C8 is able to not losing. It's a draw. But the problem is black has to play king C3. And now the king C3 we are playing just to solder the king. Now here black will solder the white king. Okay, you can go D3, and if the king comes, you go forward. If the king was on F3, then it is winning for white because then white can do soldering. But since the king is not on F3, it is no longer winning. What is this?
Shubham, what is the difference between shouldering and opposition?
Opposition you do in front and the you can say from the front on the rank in the file, and in the rank you do soldering.
Okay, in the rank we do shouldering.
Yeah, it's like you're not letting the king come to that side. In the opposition, you are not letting go forward or bottom. Okay, sorting is clear. Yeah, sorting. Anyone you want to ask me a question? What is sorting? Okay, that's great. We are going to discuss the concept called as time gaining check, and a very useful concept that we'll be learning. As I told you, time gaining check doesn't mean that you are gaining time, but it means you are gaining move. Sometimes you'll be using this thing, time. We are gaining time. It means we are gaining extra move. Okay, we use the term tempo gaining move, or instead we can say tempo gaining move. That's the better word. Yeah, and I hope you already know the meaning of word tempo or tempi. So time gaining move or time gaining check, we should say. So it means we are gaining extra move. Okay, what does that mean? That means you play one move and now it's your turn again. So you play another move, right? So we'll see how we can gain that thing. Now you notice this position. If we just place the rook behind the pawn, then black possesses the pawn, and we are not able to win the game. So what we do is we want to place the rook behind the pawn, but we don't want to lose move. So what we do, or you can say we want to gain extra move, and then we want to place the rook behind the pawn. So what we do is we give a check to them. Okay, you remember this position. This is an important position. What I can do is I can show you in this two way. Just a moment. That will be better for you. Oh, did I close that? Okay, time gaining check will be learning, but I just want to show you that if where it is, yeah, this one. Okay, you remember this position. This is one position. Okay, and this is, you can see both the chessboard. There is no problem.
Sure.
Okay, since you can see both the chessboards, now we can do the analysis. Both the chessboard have the same position, but you can see the position on the right one. It is white to play. Okay, it is white to play, and on the in the left one it is white to play, and the right one also it is white to play. But now what we'll do is we will give a check. We are giving a check just to gain time. We'll see how we are gaining time. We just give a check. Now you notice the king can go either to g3 z2, or the king can go to e3 e2. So if they go z3 z2, that means they are blocking their own pawn. So they have to move the king again to push the pawn. Okay, so we got an extra move. So what they will do is they will not go behind his pawn. Instead, they will go to e3 or e2. Let's say they go e3 or e2. Now we place the rook to g8, and they need to protect the pawn. They cannot push the pawn. They come to f3. And notice this is again white to play. On this right side board, it is white to play. And you notice this one is also white to play. This one is also white to play. And we have made a huge progress.
Again, please.
Okay, I'll keep it slow. See. What we did was on the right side, it is white to play. Okay. And if we simply just place the rook behind the pawn, then the problem is they push the pawn and we are not able to stop the pawn. Pawn is only 2 steps away from promotion and the pawn promotes. So instead of that, putting the rook directly behind the pawn, we give a check in between. And they have to make a decision. Either they can go and block their own pawn, or they can go to e3 or e2. Both loses, it doesn't matter, but this one loses, blocking the pawn loses easily. Let's say they go to e3 in order to not block the pawn, and they can push the pawn later. But now we can place our rook to z8. And since the pawn is under attack and pawn cannot be easily protected by just pushing, they have to protect it by moving the king. The king has to go to f3, and this is white to play again, right? So now you try to compare both the position. In this one also it is white to play. In this one also it is white to play. On the left one, the rook is on a1, whereas on the right one, rook is on 8, and this one rook is on g8. So white rook has already made one progress. Yeah, white has gone extra move, one move. And you see the king position here. The king is on f2, and here the king is on f3. They have played one backward king move. Okay, so we got 2 extra move, not even 1. You got this thing? Since we got 2 extra free moves, we will be able to win the game. How we win the game is not difficult. Now you just bring your king. And if they push the pawn, then you give check again, forcing them. This is now called as soldering. Okay, we give a check. The king goes behind, and now we bring the king to e2. They go h2, and you can go to, or you can give a check. They come to g2 or z1, and
Sir, why not here we can, sir, why not there we can play, when we give a check, why not we can play king f1?
king f1, then you lose the game. They give a check.
So like yeah, f3.
F3. Okay, if they f3, they push the pawn. We give a check. They go to g1. We go to g8. They go back to h2, and then we play
We
king
can
f2.
just capture it. So we can just capture the pawn.
If they go h1, then you cannot capture.
Oh yes, so because
So we go f2, and then they have to promote, or if it doesn't matter, they promote or not promote. If they promote, then they lose the pawn. They lose the piece, and if they do not promote, if they just move the king, you can capture the pawn. That's also winning, or you can do directly checkmate.
so sir, both of them are correct.
Yes, both of them are correct. It's just like which one you are able to spot first in the game, in the tournament, when you are playing, or in the game, and you can use the technique. The main technique was here in the beginning, how you are gaining extra moves. It seems like we cannot stop it because the pawn is only 3 steps away from the promotion, and we are like the king far away and the rook far away, and it seems like we cannot do anything. But since we are able to use time gaining check, we are able to gain 2 moves, and we are able to gain 2 moves, which is just huge. We just saw what if the king goes to e3. Now let's see what if the king goes to z3. If the king goes to z3, the rook is cutting it off, so we can bring our king. They play king to h2. We go to e2. They push the pawn, and here also you can go for a check and then place the rook behind the pawn, or you can also play king f3. We give a check. They go g1, and we place the rook behind the pawn, and they have to go to h1 or f1 or h2. All 3 loses. Okay. If they go f1, you can just take the pawn. If they go h1, then king f2 wins, and if they go h2, then you just take the pawn again. These 2 square, you take the pawn, and if they go h1, you don't take, otherwise it is stalemate. If they go h1, then you go f2, and now you are winning the pawn. Okay, time gaining check is clear, everybody. How we are gaining extra moves? We got 2 extra moves here by giving a check in between. Okay, and you can remember this idea. You give a check and attack the pawn, so that the king has to come and protect the pawn. So you gain extra moves. Okay, that is time gaining check. We'll see through one more example. Yeah, let's take this one. This one is still a bit difficult, so we'll see this one. We'll come back to that one again. Let's see. Okay, this one seems like we are not able to stop the pawn, only 3 steps away from promotion. But we have a technique to stop the pawn. What do we do?
There too, sir.
Yeah, rook a2 check. We are gaining time. Now the king has to make a decision. The king will go either to f3 or to f1. Which way you think they'll go? F3. Yeah, let's start with f3. Then you go king h2. They push the pawn. Then we go king g1. They push the pawn, and we just need to play. Or you can just give a check, and the king has to go upside, and you are able to go f2 and win the pawn. Okay, so here time winning check is very important. And if they go f1, that also wins. Can you figure out how it is winning? King to z3. They push the pawn. King to f3. Clear? So the move that is important, rook a2. A time gaining check. Is this clear? Time gaining check is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, that's great. Now we're going to discuss one of, I think it is the toughest problem that we need to know, and we should know. Otherwise, if we let you try this thing, most likely all of you will be able to make the game draw and will not be able to win the game with white pieces, but it is winning for white. And it's not easily winning. Let's say your rook is under attack right now. Where you will move the rook? Anyone you want to guess?
Rook to a4.
Rook to a4. Okay. So here it's not a good technique because you're not controlling even square. And here 2 moves are only winning. Out of you must do any of these 3 moves. Where do you think we should go?
Rook e3.
So rook
Yeah,
even.
So
Rook
rook
e1.
e2. So rook e2.
Okay. Can anyone tell me why rook even, e2 or e3?
Sir, with
Depending
rook.
Okay,
the
Sir, because if we play rook even, then he take time to catch our rook. But if we play rook e3, e2, then black king can catch our rook.
Yes, yes, yes. That's a great logic. Yeah, that's a great logic. Anybody else who want to mention why rook e2? Yeah, he gave the answer why rook e1 because it's a far away. Then why not go there? And then black will take time to attack it. But somebody was mentioning rook e3 or e2. What is your idea?
Sir, first we are losing the tempo, then we'll gain a tempo.
I didn't get it. You're losing a tempo, then we'll gain tempo. How? Okay, you're mentioning e3 or e2. Which one?
Sir, if we go rook e2, like we're not exactly covering the even square, and we can try to get our king there.
Okay, let me explain this thing to you. Here, in some situation, you will see that you can see black is not letting you do outflanking. Black is controlling the square and not letting you do outflanking. And we want to do outflanking later. So the question first here is what happens if white goes to rook e1? Let's say rook e1. If we go rook e1, what will happen is they'll push the pawn or the king. Which one?
Sir.
King. Okay.
Sir,
Uh,
pawn push.
the pawn they will push. If they push the king, then white can do outflanking and white will be able to win the game. So it is better for them to push the pawn and not let them do outflanking, right? Now you notice this position, it is white to play again, correct? Just imagine if the same position, if it was white to, it was black to play, what black will play?
Sir, what is mean by Ponko?
King to f4.
Somebody asked one question. What did you ask?
Sir, what is mean by Ponko?
Ponko? I was saying pawn to e4. This will not play the king move. When you go rook e1, this will not play the king move because they will do outflanking. This will play the pawn move. This will play the pawn move here, and black still controls the square, and white cannot do outflanking.
So we can play rook f1, check.
Rook f1, check. Then they go g4.
Then king f6 or
Yeah,
e6, yeah, anything.
e6 makes sense. They go e3, and they will be able to attack your rook and draw the game. Let's say you go rook e3. This is, they can even just go f2. You have to go away and they push the pawn. Okay. So here there is a problem. What we want is this position. Let's say rook go e1 and they push the pawn. This position, we want black to play something. Because if black plays something, he cannot push the pawn. Because if he pushes the pawn, we just take the pawn. And if he pushes the king to the bottom or here, in both situations, we are able to gain outflanking. If he goes this way, then we are able to go through the other side. And if he goes bottom, then we are directly able to do outflanking. Okay, so this position, we want black to play. But right now it is white to play. And white rook cannot go away because if you move the rook away, they push the pawn. So what we want is we want to lose a move. So instead of going to rook e1 directly, we will play an in-between move, rook e3 or rook e2. And let's say we play rook e3. Now we are winning the game. Why we are winning? Let's say they play the pawn move, and then we go rook e1. And you notice it's the same position, but it is black to play. So they have to spend a move playing the king move. And if they play the king move, now we bring the king. Yeah, and we will be able to stop. We are threatening to take the pawn, so they have to push the pawn, and we go and attack the pawn, and we win the pawn. Okay, and if they play, if we play rook e2, it's the same thing. They move the pawn, and we just go rook e1. What we want is in this position we want them to play, and if you play directly the same thing, now this is the same position, but it is white to play. Now white doesn't have any good move. The rook we have to move, but if you move the rook, then the pawn goes forward, and if you move the rook up, then the king will be in time to attack your rook. So that is the reason rook e3 is winning move. Okay, rook e2 is winning move, but rook e1 is no longer winning move. It is a draw. This is not winning. This is winning, and this is winning. White is winning because we want to spend the move. We just want to lose a tempo, lose a move, so that it is black to play, and black gives us the squash to do outflanking.
Sir, what is mean by tempo?
Tempo means you are gaining extra move either by attacking them, or let's say you just got extra move by giving check to them, or you attack something. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this idea is clear. Why e3 is winning, why e2 is winning, and why not e1 is winning. Because I will show you again. When we go e3 directly, then they push the pawn. And now the problem is we cannot do outflanking. Now it is white to play, and white is not having any good moves. The king cannot come anywhere. And if you move the rook away, then they push the pawn. And if you move the rook upside, then the king will come and attack our rook. Now the king will be in time to attack the rook. So what we want is we want to play a waiting move so that they go to the they push the pawn, and then we want to place our rook to the far away, so that they move the king and we get time to bring our king, and then it will be winning for white. Okay, this is one of the toughest problem I have seen in rook against pawn. But yeah, it is once you know how it is working, and you'll be able to understand the concept of zook zone. Here it is white to play. It is black to play, and black doesn't have any good move. If he plays the king, then also loses. If he plays the pawn, then also loses. And if he doesn't play, then he doesn't lose. If it is white to play, then it is a draw. That is the reason we spend time, and then we go to e1. We want to go far away, but we also want to spend one move. So we don't want to directly go to the e1. We want to stay in between, and then we want to go to e1. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, Rudrans. Okay, let's take the one more example. This one. This is also a winning technique. How we can gain tempo? How we can gain extra move? Anyone? Time getting checked. How will apply here?
Sir,
Okay, sorry, you
R
tell.
E6.
Sir,
R E. Okay, one by one. R E6 is not a tempo gaining move.
Rook E3.
Rook C7.
E3.
Okay, Rook E3. In the beginning only we discussed if we have to place the rook against the pawn, what is the best location? Behind the pawn, not further sideway.
The rook C7.
Yes, Rook C7.
C7.
Okay, so Vikrant, you are saying, can you just finish the whole line? Rook C7, they move the king away.
Into
Now-
C1.
Check into D7.
King C8.
No, now you're
King
doing
C8.
mistake. No.
Rook
King C8.
Okay,
D7.
okay.
Rook D7.
Sorry, you tell. That is also not correct. Sorry, answer. Sorry, you tell. The rook move, rook C7 is correct.
D7.
King goes D4. Now,
King C8.
no, king C8, you're not making progress.
Rook
C-
C7.
Rook C7 is already there. Rook B7 is the right answer.
Rook B7.
Yeah, that's the right answer. We want to gain tempo. That means we want to gain extra move. I'll just show you again. Let's take this one. Yeah, and let's take this one also. Okay, so these are the two positions. You can see what we want is we want to gain extra move.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Your screen is not visible.
It's still not visible? I think it is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you can
did.
see.
It is visible.
Yeah, you can see
No,
both
I
the chessboards.
cannot see it.
Are you attending in the phone?
No, sir.
And which device?
Tablet.
Okay, in the tablet should be visible. What you do is you just take it as it is and you press one time in the center
Sir,
so that you can see whole chessboard.
Sir, shall I leave and join the class again?
You might miss it.
Okay. Sir, so can you wait for 2 minutes, please? I just rejoin.
Okay, resign. Okay, anyone, you want to ask any question in the previous puzzles or you have any other question regarding chess? We can take the questions. We are almost about to finish. We need to cover like 3 more problems and then it will be over. Rook against 2 pawn will not be discussing because that will take a lot of time.
Why this move is wrong? This one?
Which one?
Rook to E3.
Yes.
E3, you're not making progress. Okay, do not make noise, just a moment. Keep your mic mute. Okay, make sure you're not making noise here. Okay, so now Rook E3 is not working because we are not making progress.
But afterwards, can we make the progress?
Sir, Rook C7.
The king attacks the rook, and if you go to B3, the king attacks the rook.
Then we
So
can
we
move
didn't
the
make
king.
progress, no?
At first, B.
First your rook is under attack.
B1. Yeah.
Then the pawn goes forward, and you cannot bring.
Okay.
The
pawn is coming this way. Okay. I thought the pawn is going that way.
If the pawn is going that way, then why you will move the rook? Then you just go and block the pawn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, so if the pawn goes this way, then just block the pawn. Pawn is going to the B1. Okay, let's see how we gain tempo. We give a check to
Sir,
them.
Rook C7. Rook
Yeah, Rook
C7.
C7 is right. King D4.
Rook B7. Sir, Rook B7.
Yes, now we go Rook D7, and notice again we are forcing them to move the king. Of course, not C5. They go C4. So now take this position. This is white to play, and this is also white to play. In this one, rook is on E4, okay, and the king is on C3. And here rook is behind the pawn. That means we got an extra move. Okay, here we got an extra move with the rook because rook is placed behind the pawn. Second, the king has gone backward one step, so we got an extra move here. So we got 2 free moves, and it's our turn again. It's the same position, but it is our turn in both problems, both the situations. So you got what is time getting check. Time getting check is clear. Again, I will repeat. Time getting check. What you do is you attack the king, give a check to the king, and then you attack the pawn. So the king goes back and defend the pawn, and then you already have made some progress. A good progress you must have made. So what we do is we give a check to them. The king goes away, and then we attack the pawn. And they're not going C5 because then again they have to move to C4. That's the reason they go C4. And now we have enough time to bring the king. Now we can do outflanking, as we know. Not this way. Yeah, we can do outflanking and we win the game. So we go king C7, they push the pawn. We go king B6, they push the pawn. We go A5, they go king C3. We go A4, they go B3, B2, we go A3, king C2, and if they then we go king A2, and we are able to stop the pawn. And not only stop the pawn, but we are also able to win the game with the rook. Time getting check is clear. This is a very useful concept that you'll be seeing in your games. You know how this position will come in your game? Let's say you have a rook and the pawn. Opponent also has a rook, and you also have a pawn. So what opponent wants, whenever you promote, he will give up the rook. And then let's say you somehow captured with the king. You promote the pawn, they give up the rook, and you take with the king. Then you will get these kind of situations. So you must know like how to win these things. Okay. Time getting check is clear. Should we go to the next one? Let me see which one is the next thing. Okay. Now, till now, I have just taught you a rook will always win the game against the pawn, or at least it will draw the game and will never lose the game. But there are some situations where the pawn wins against the rook. This is one example. So here, black, it is black to play. Black gave a check. What white should play?
King C5, sir.
Sir, king
D5.
D7. D7.
Sir, king d7.
Okay, anybody else? I didn't get the right answer.
D5.
Yeah.
Sir, king d5.
King d5.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Those who are saying, okay, let's see. I will keep asking the same question. So let me explain here. Those who are thinking D7, there is a problem. The problem is you are falling into the soldering concept. So the rook goes all the way bottom, and if you promote to anything, it doesn't matter. They give a check, and you go in this line. You see again soldering concept. The king moves, and you lose the queen. And let's say you move your king away first, then the rook gives the check and then takes the pawn. So black can draw the game. So in this position, when you are getting a check, you cannot go d7. And those who are mentioning king c5, what is the move that black should play?
Sir,
To draw
rook
the game.
F1. Sir, rook F1.
Rook f1. If you promote, if you lose the game, and if you don't promote, I mean the way to draw the game is just bring the king and then you can. What is this?
Sir, can't black win this position?
No, black cannot win the position. If
Sir,
black wins,
first
then
move,
white has to
king
do.
d5.
Shubham, why black cannot win this position? Because of the pawn on the 7th rank, right?
Your pawn is very powerful.
And if the pawn is in the 6th rank, then
Then it is doubtful. Most likely it will be a draw only. Yeah, it is a draw then. If the pawn is in the 6th rank, it's a draw. In the 7th rank, it's winning. So here, the way to win the game is black gives a check. Now you cannot go to c5. You cannot go to d7. So the only move left is either e5 or d5. Which one you think is correct?
d5.
Sir,
Can you
king
repeat again?
D5.
The king to d5.
Yeah, king to d5. What about king e5?
Rook
Very
E6
Rook
and
E6.
rook E8.
Rook e6, rook c6, and black
Yeah,
wins
rook
the game,
C6 is also.
and the pawn is lost. So you can even lose the game if you if I do the mistake. If I do the mistake, white can even lose the game. So the move is king d5. You take control of c6 and doesn't you're not letting them make any skewer attack. So what if they give check again? What you will do?
King D4.
Okay, that's right. We cannot go up because then it will be repetition. So we go d4. They give check again.
Then king D3.
In d3, we give check
King
again.
d2.
King D2.
Now you don't need to go b2.
Yeah, we
Then how will
can go
make
to
progress?
C2
King
also.
d2.
Yeah, king c2 also you can go. That is better. King e2 is actually losing because the rook goes to c3.
Rook, yeah, C3.
If you go king to e2, then the rook comes to c3 and you lose the game.
Yeah.
Now the pawn is lost. So you have to go to c2 to make progress. And after rook gives check again, this time where we go?
King D1.
Why you go d1? Then they give check again.
Okay, we can go to C1
Shubham,
or
why
D1.
why we
If
are
they
going
give
King
to
check
B1?
again. b1 is not enough. They give
C1
check again.
maybe. C1.
No, we go b3. b1 is still winning. b3 you go. We need to make progress. And you notice we are again ready to push the pawn, promote the pawn. They have to give a check. The king goes up, give check, king goes up, check, king goes up, check, king goes up. And there is no way they can stop the promotion. Right?
Yeah.
And white wins. Now this is a difficult task. Still, it's not easy. So whatever they play, let's say they play anything and you make a queen. So this is still a difficult game, queen against rook, how to win. We'll discuss, there is one class for queen against rook. We'll discuss how to win. But this is clear how we have to make progress. After this, we have to go like this, and then we have to hide here. Okay.
and
What is
and
this?
Shubham, if we go
Just a moment. Why it is coming? I don't know. How do you remove this? Okay, there is. Just a moment. Yeah, now it is gone. Okay, yeah, what you're asking?
I'm saying if we go to d7, then it will be shouldering also, no? Then we can move from
Shouldering?
here also, c8 or like d8.
No, if you go to king d7, then the rook goes to f1.
Shouldering is coming, yeah.
And
Yeah,
whatever
then
you
we can
promote, you lose. And not lose, but you lose the piece, and it will be draw. Whatever you promote, black will give a check, and then give a check, and then win that piece.
Okay,
And then
that is
you have to. Okay, so now you have to solve this problem by your own. And now you tell me, what is the last move? Solve it by your own and tell me the last move. Nisham, anyone?
Sir, rook d6.
No, rook d6 was played in the game. And this is black to play, but actually it is winning for white. So you have to find the last move that is winning.
King, no.
B7. King to B7.
King c5.
King b5.
B5 is right stance. You're good in this. We just discussed king c5 is not going to work because the rook goes all the way to the bottom and do skewer attack.
King
So whatever you
B7.
promote. King b7, there is a problem. What is the move?
Rook d7.
Rook d7. Yeah, that's right. Rook d7. So after this, what is the move?
So king b5.
King
b5.
b5.
Yeah, that's right. Rook d5 check.
King b4.
b4 check again.
King b3.
King b3. Rook
Yeah,
d3. King c2.
King c2, and they are smart here. They'll play rook d4.
C8 rook.
equal
C8
to
rook.
rook.
So c8 rook.
Yeah, that's right. C8 rook. And not to the queen. If you promote to a queen, then there is a check. And it is a
Queen
stalemate.
takes stalemate.
It is a stalemate. Yeah. Saksham, you want to ask anything? Okay, so, yeah,
Why do
promote
we
to a rook.
not promote to rook?
Yeah, now we promote to a rook, and there are two problems.
Rook a4, king b3.
Yeah, that's right. There is a problem of checkmate, so they have to defend it. And the moment they defend it, we go king b3,
King
and
b3.
the rook is in trouble, and there is a checkmate problem. So they cannot say both, and it's winning for white. So you have 3 questions to solve by your own. I have already taught you all the concepts. So this one you have to solve by your own. Okay. This one you have to solve by your own, and this one you have to solve by your own. Okay. All these problems, 3 problems you have to solve by your own. Okay. You have any question you want to ask? Our topic of discussion is over. We just need to we discuss all the concepts related to rook against pawn. And in the rook against pawn, we discussed the concept of counting. Then we discussed cut off along rank, along fifth rank, to be precise. And then we discussed, which was the next one? Promotion to knight, outflanking, soldiering, and time getting check. Yeah, these are the topic we discussed. Any question you want to ask? Anyone? Yeah, no question? Yeah, anyone? Any doubt in any of those topics you want me to repeat, or you have any question? Okay, so what you have to do is, your task is to solve 3 puzzles that I will share you. You have to solve it by your own, and you have to find out the answer. And apart from that, you can try.
Sir, did you send them in WhatsApp?
Yes, you will get all the resources in your WhatsApp. Okay, so you have to solve this one, these 3 puzzle problems, this one, and this one, all 3, 51, 50, 51, and 52. And you have to also solve, also do the, we are getting disturbance. Where? Yeah. You have to also solve the, there is a problem of, just a moment. A Google form test of rook against pawn. This one. So you can solve this one also. And yeah, I'll share all these things to you. And yeah, that's all.
Sir, you are sending